BernieDawg here again. I thought I'd show you how to use the 2mm by 2mm paper templates to set out to establish your hole pattern on a cap. Ultimately, you end up with something that looks like this, with the grid on it. Whoops, there went one. All right, here's another one. It ends up with a grid on it. Here's a bare cap we haven't done yet. All right, and this is going to be Dragon Tamer 2. This is going to be a mini cap. I'm going to show you how to do this. These sheets in 3 different flavors. This is a 3-row sheet. This is a 5-row sheet, and then this is an 8-row sheet. These are available at the links that I've appended down to the bottom of this YouTube video. You can go direct to my my server and download them for free. So when you have these sheets, you need to cut them up. I'm just going to show you. This should be pretty self-evident, but I'll show you anyway. Here's what you do. I have a piece of wood. It's an old piece of plywood. I take a straight edge. I use one of my utility blades. And what I do is I split the line that I've included in the template. I have an extra line in each one. So right now I'm cutting one that's going to be for the mini cap, or would be. I already have one prepared, but it would be for a mini cap with 3 rows of holes. So I split that line. That's the extra 4th row, and then I come in just above the 3rd row. Oops, didn't press hard enough because I'm talking at the same time. There we go. And you just divide the sheet up like that, as many as you need when you need them is the way that I do it. Take a pair of scissors, you can trim the end. And there you have them. Okay, you get your grid. Now, over here I have a couple that I've already cut. They're ready to go. And what do I do with them? Well, I take this stuff. This is just 3M General Purpose 45, it says here. This is the particular brand. But this is a spray adhesive. You can find it at office supply places, stationery stores. It's mostly used for scrapbooking and that sort of thing. What I do is I spray a light spritz. Oops. I don't want to have that happen if you can avoid it. There you go. Light spritz. On the 2 paper templates. Let that dry for a while. So we'll let that dry for a little bit until it's just barely tacky. Now that the paper templates have dried a little bit so that they're just barely tacky, I can bring them over here. And here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take my Dragon Tamer 2 cap. This is our 5-row template, and I'm going to just put it right down flush onto the surface here and gently wrap it around the cap. Now it's going to stick to the cap because it's got that adhesive on it. Now when I get close to the end, I can take a look and you should see the lines lining up. If you don't see them lining up quite right, you can stretch this piece of paper just a little bit. Back it up a little bit and stretch it, and then you can get them to line up just perfectly. Trim the end. And there we have it. There's your cap wrapped with a grid. Do the same thing on the mini cap. There you go. hold this so that you can see what I'm doing. Alright, there we go. Carefully wrap it around the bottom edge of the cap, keeping it flush with the bottom, and as you near the end, once again, you can take a look and see, oh, is that lining up? Yeah, just pretty good there, so I'll stretch it just a little bit. There we go. And then you can trim the end like so. And that lines up pretty doggone good too. Okay. Next step. I take cellophane tape to give myself something to hold this paper template down. As it dries out, you may find it's going to want to lift off. This also acts, the cellophane Scotch tape, acts as a bit of a lubricant in case the metal shavings that you are creating when you drill the cap want to tear up that paper. This kind of acts as a little bit of a barrier, and I've just found it's worth doing. It's just worth doing it. And I wrap the paper template. I fold in the edges, so I'll come off with sanding and other work later. If you don't want to do the other work, you can always just toss this in a container of acetone, and the acetone will melt it all off. It's a solvent for the general purpose adhesive, and also for the Scotch tape. It'll pretty well melt it all off, so that's good. Alright, so we get all that there. We can do the mini cap too, but you get the idea. Now the other part of this is, with caps that have gaps to allow clearance for the legs so the legs don't light up so badly, like the Dragon Tamer, the BernieDawg, some of the other caps I make. How do I get those gaps? Well, there's two ways you can do it. One, you can do all the math and count it all out. If you're using one of my grids and you're using 1.5" tubing, you're going to have 60 ranks around here. So you subtract 3 ranks for each gap, and in between then, that gives you 9 less than 60 is 51, which means you have 17 ranks between each set of gaps. And oh my gosh, it gives me a headache just thinking about it. But what I do, it's easier, is I made one of these guys. Very simple. I took like a protractor and a triangle, and I figured out where the 100 degrees, these are 120 degrees apart, and I figured out where they'd go to make a triangle. And then, so what I do is I locate where the paper overlapped, because I figure that's the one place where it might not be quite so accurate. Yep, there it is right there. Okay, so that's where I pick my first one, and I go ahead and take a Sharpie. The overlap is right here, and I block out those 3 ranks of holes. And then I can take my template and line it up with the center one, spin it back around. There we go, spin it back around. Oh look, I know, see that line there goes to right here, and it shows me right where the 3 that I don't want to drill are. Now, why do you want to do this? Well, I don't know about you, but when I get going on this and I start drilling, the temptation is just to zone out, listen to the music you got on your shop stereo, and there you are going along, and pretty soon you realize, uh-oh, I forgot to stop. Oh, I drilled where I wasn't supposed to drill. So this way I just don't have to worry about it. And I just block them out like that. And when those come around, of course, I don't drill there. So now we're ready to go. We're ready to drill. There's 17 ranks in between those 3 groups of 3. And that's the answer. That's how to get a cap ready to drill. If you have a question about this hole in the middle, well, the hole is very simple. There, you can see. I just draw a circle here a couple times. This tells me where to use my little doggy stamp. You wouldn't believe that doggy stamp cost me like $120. Holy moly. So I try to use it as much as possible and make it worth my money. So, that's how I do that. I have a smaller one that I made for the littler caps. I have other sizes that I made. These are pretty simple to make, no big deal. That's how I get ready to drill. Thanks for watching. BernieDawg out.